Hi, in this video I'll help you get to know your car a little better. At the end of this video I've put together a straightforward infographic that summarizes all the key points. Like, subscribe and comment below. It really helps.
All right, so you've been working on your Dodge, you put a new part in, and bam, there it is. That C151C error code staring you right in the face. Yeah, it's super frustrating, I totally get it. But hey, don't sweat it. We're about to break this whole thing down, figure out exactly what it means, and give you a simple, step-by-step guide to make it go away. Let's dive in.
You know, when that code pops up, it can feel a little, well, intimidating. But here's the good news. C151C isn't just some random, mysterious glitch. It's not a ghost in the machine. It's actually pointing us to a really specific problem, one that we can totally solve step by step.
So what is this code really saying? Well, at its heart, it's a communication error. Plain and simple. You've put in a new tire pressure monitoring module, right? That's kind of the brain of the whole operation. The problem is it can't talk to the sensors in your tires. It's like you hired a new manager, but you forgot to introduce them to the team. They're just standing there, and the system has no idea who it's supposed to be listening to. Okay, so our first section is all about decoding this thing. To get this fixed, we've got to understand what the car is trying to tell us. So let's pull back the curtain and see what's really happening behind the scenes to trigger this error. So what's actually causing this communication breakdown? That's the million-dollar question, right? And here's the thing. The list of potential culprits is actually really short and specific. It's not some wild goose chase. The code is pointing us to just a handful of issues, which is great because it means we can make a really clear plan to track down the problem.
And that brings us to our second section, the 4 main culprits. Believe it or not, pretty much every single time you see a C151C code, it boils down to one of these 4 things. And we can split them into 2 simple camps. You've got your hardware problems, and you've got your software problems. So let's lay out our plan of attack. Okay, take a look at this. This table is basically our roadmap. See how it's split? The top 2 are all about the physical parts, the hardware. And the bottom 2, that's all about the programming, the software side of things. This is the whole game plan right here. We're going to walk through each one of these. All right, section 3. Let's tackle problem number 1, faulty components. We're starting with the physical stuff, the parts you can actually touch. Before we even think about software or scanners, we got to make sure the hardware itself is good to go. Honestly, these are usually the easiest things to check first.
First up, culprit number 1, non-FCC compliant components. This one is a classic, folks. It often comes down to you get what you pay for. If you use parts that aren't properly certified, you can create all kinds of electronic chaos in your car. And this error code, it's a perfect symptom of that.
You might be wondering, what the heck does FCC compliant even mean? Well, it's pretty simple. The Federal Communications Commission has rules to make sure that electronic gadgets don't mess with each other's signals. In your car, that means making sure your tire pressure system isn't going to interfere with your radio or, something way more important.
So here's the solution, and it's a big one. Always check that your parts are FCC compliant before you install them. Seriously, it's a super simple check that can save you from a massive headache later. And if you've already put the part in and you're seeing this code, well, this is your very first step. Go check that part certification.
Okay, let's talk about culprit number 2, a defective tire pressure monitoring sensor. Sometimes the problem is just that simple. You got a bad part right out of the box. The sensor itself could be damaged, or maybe it was just a dud from the factory.
And the solution here is pretty low tech, actually. It's just a good old-fashioned visual inspection. You got to get your eyes on that sensor. Look for any cracks, any physical damage, maybe some corrosion. Anything that just looks wrong could be the reason it's not sending its signal out properly. Okay, section 4, programming errors. So let's say you've checked your parts. They're FCC compliant, they look physically fine, no cracks, no damage. Well, now it's time to shift gears and look at the other half of the puzzle, the software. Because if the hardware is solid, the problem is almost definitely in the programming.
And this brings us to culprit number 3, incorrect sensor IDs. Now listen up, because this one is super common, especially right after you've put in a new module. See, every single sensor in your tires has its own unique serial number, its own personal ID. The main computer needs to know those exact IDs so it can pick out their signals from all the other electronic noise.
So the solution is all about the details. You've got to make sure the new module has been programmed with the correct sensor IDs. I mean, if you put in the wrong number or even just have a single typo, the module is basically listening for a ghost.
It's waiting for a signal from a sensor that isn't there. So you got to go back into the programming and double, even triple check that every single ID is a perfect match.
And that leads us to our last suspect, culprit number 4, a general programming error. Think of this as the catch-all. Sometimes it's not just one wrong number. It could be that you missed a step in the programming sequence, or maybe you did something in the wrong order.
The solution here is all about being methodical. You've just got to double-check all the programming steps. Go back to the instructions and retrace your every move. Check every single input. It's crazy, but even one tiny little mistake in the sequence can be enough to trigger this code.
All right, section 5 is where we put it all together. This is your C151C action plan. We've met the 4 culprits. Now let's build a simple, step-by-step plan that you can use to nail this problem down and fix it for good.
So here it is, your 4-step action plan. Think of it like a checklist. Step 1, verify your components. Are they FCC compliant, yes or no? Step 2, inspect the sensor. Give it a good look for any physical defects. If both of those check out, you know your problem is almost certainly software. So, step 3, check those sensor IDs. Make sure every single number is perfect. And finally, step 4, if you're still stuck, review the entire programming process from the very beginning. If you follow these steps in order, you will find the issue.
So let's recap, just to really lock it in. This code, C151C, almost always boils down to one of these 4 things: non-compliant hardware, a defective sensor, incorrect sensor IDs, or a general programming error. It's either the parts of the programming. That's it. That's the whole list.
And hey, don't just take my word for it. The official guidance is crystal clear on this. This is a totally solvable problem. If you just follow these causes and solutions, it's absolutely possible to fix the C151C issue and get that TPM module working perfectly.
So there you have it. You're armed with all the knowledge you need now. The question is, what's your first check going to be? Are you starting with the hardware, or are you going to dive right into the software? You've got this.